Hi, Andrea Waddell here. Welcome to the studio. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about the common mistakes to avoid when you are starting from a small sketch and moving to a larger version of a smaller painting. And I hope that you get something from watching this video. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And if you like this video, give it a like. That supports me to create more content for you. And I also wanted to share with you, when I'm problem solving my way through paintings in general, I'm looking at very specific things. And I have developed this sheet to help you do the same thing. So in other words, to help you know what to look for and how that's going to influence the whole of the composition. So if you would like a copy of this, that's in the show notes below, and you can go ahead and download it, and let's get started. I'm going to be tempted, because I like this, to try to replicate it exactly. And I don't want to do that. I want to bring in the color palette and the feeling of it, but you know, I'll get very close to it, but I'm not gonna duplicate this. And what I did, I can't believe it. It is not in my, normal wheelhouse to be this organized, but I did like the way that came out. So I recorded the colors. I wrote them down as I was going, which is really such a great idea. I mean, I've said it to myself so many times. Stop in the middle of your flow. You like what's just happened. I know you think you're going to remember how you got, for example, this groovy pink color, but if you don't write it down, you're not going to remember. And sure enough, I would not have remembered that this pink is, in fact, a transparent brown, a primary magenta, and a light magenta. I'm so happy I wrote that down. Okay, so I'm going to start putting on some lines with my phthalo green and my yellow oxide. Mix that up first. And I'm going to see if I can get away with working wet on wet, because this isn't dry yet. We're having some horrible weather in California. I feel so silly complaining about it. It's so relative. All right, I've got my yellow oxide. I love these Nova paints, Nova color paints. They're pretty fabulous. Sometimes when I want to work fast, I just use these paper plates. Because I'm impatient. So the first mistake to avoid is when you start working bigger and preparing yourself to work bigger, it is to mix enough paint. So if you're used to working small, you're probably used to mixing just a small amount of paint. And when you're working bigger, especially if you're finding colors that you like, it's to mix, I would say, 3 to 4 times as much paint as you've been mixing previously. And the second thing to remember is you're going to need bigger tools, or you're going to need tools that are going to work for you in the same way that the small paintings worked for you. So to find tools, bigger brushes, bigger palette knives, and also third thing to remember is that it's going to ask you to use a different set of muscles. So if you're working on something small on a table and suddenly you're standing and you're working vertically, your muscles are going to be your arm muscles, your shoulders, your wrist. And so it's going to start making a different type of gesture, and you need to get used to that. So a couple of things to keep in mind as you start to jump to something bigger. These tubes dry up. So frustrating, these things. They dry up and you can't get them to pour. What I'm doing here is I'm remembering how I felt, which is, I like to move quickly. This is why I know I can't get it to be an exact replica of what I did before. I want to get the feeling of it, how I felt doing it, which was free, very loose. I'm trying to avoid my center line here. This is why you're going to like my course, because you'll be able to see me mix paint. I can't possibly film myself and then bring the camera down and show you what I'm mixing, but I'm mixing that quinacridone with my orange. That course is a self-paced online course called Mastering Abstract Composition that I've been working on for the last year. And I go very deep into color theory, color harmony as it relates to abstract painting, and also show you tips and tools and things to look at so that you are problem solving your way to a strong composition with a lot more ease and a lot more skill and strength. So if you're interested in that, go to the show notes below and be sure to subscribe to my newsletter, and you'll be the first to know when the course launches in a couple of weeks. As I'm building this, I've got my slop board going here, just kind of relaxing. Just take a little break. So I try to depolarize from what I'm doing here, and I just, you know, if I've made up a new color, I bring it in here, and it's just acting as my slop board-ish, you know, thingy, majig here. To sort of work things out and kind of relax myself as I'm going. I like to do this when I'm working. This is why working small is so satisfying, because you can take a brush and do a big, bold move. So at the risk of wrecking this, I'm going to make a bold move. Okay, I'm not going to fixate on this. My puppy is being so polite. He's just waiting patiently. He loves the studio. Don't you, Philly? Loves the studio. Who's a good boy? Okay, let mommy work on her painting. I should stop here and say I am getting a little bit hung up on wanting this to be an exact replica or really, really close to my original design here. And it can hang you up. So I think there comes a point where you just have to release the sketch and let this painting become, itself. What I try to do is get as much of this going as I can, and then let this go, and then let this painting, become what it's going to be. And what I've been doing here is that as I'm doing free gestures, just letting it rip, I just always want to make sure that there's nothing that's going to be right here, dead center, or something that's going to just come right here and be a bullseye, and I can see some of that is happening. So, I'm just correcting some of that. And that's about as far as I'm going to go for today. I'm going to give this a little pause.